Hey everyone, it's Carissa at Sprinkled with Glitter. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am creating a masculine card and I am featuring products from the stamp company. And these stamps are now available at ellenhutson.com and I will link all of it below in the YouTube description, so be sure to check that out. I just wanted to show you a few of the items I have here. That's the You're Amazing stamp set. This is the Hexagon Hello, and I love that wood grain hexagon, and that is what inspired me to make a masculine card today. This is the Beautiful Blooms stamp set. It's a stamp layering set, and it's got some fun sentiments as well, which I'm going to incorporate on today's card. And finally, I have the Stencil alphabet, and it has these fun little strings, and you can kind of stamp these dangling from the strings. Now, there are coordinating dies, and I'll be sure to link those below. However, I'm not using dies today. I'm going back old school to my first love of stamping back in the day when I didn't own a die cut machine, and I'm going to create a card without any dies. So I'm starting out with this large wood grain hexagon here, and I've mounted this in my Misty stamping tool because some of these stamps are very solid, and I want to make sure that if I don't get it stamped well the first time, I can go ahead and restamp. Now I'm going to be using some kind of blue teal inks for this card today, but as you'll see in the final project photos, you can definitely take this same card design, change up the colors, and you can make it appropriate for anybody. I happen to take the same design, change it over to some pinks, and I made a baby card with it. So I started out with Galactic Stream, and then I stamped Teal Cove, and then I'm going to stamp Aqualicious, and I'm going to finish off with Dewdrop, and that gives me kind of an ombre effect. Now I'm going to stamp this solid hexagon here. I'm stamping it twice. So I went ahead and cleaned off the first color of ink, and now I'm inking it up with the Aqualicious. And I'm just kind of creating this staggered pattern, kind of free falling from that top corner and down across the card. I'm going to add some metallic embossing in here in just a bit and kind of round out the design a little bit. Now, hexagons are a great basic shape, so you can use these on all sorts of cards, and that very large wood grain hexagon is great for kind of creating like a landing area for a focal image, and I really like it for that. In the final project photos, you will see a card that I created with the Beautiful Bloom stamp set where I use that kind of as a backdrop. Now, because I'm doing some embossing on top of this stamping, I went ahead and hit this with a heat tool so that I could be sure that that ink was nice and dry and I wouldn't get embossing powder sticking where I didn't want it. So I tested that out with the embossing powder, and then I'm going to go ahead and prep the surface of my cardstock with my powder tool. And I'm going to take this open hexagon design and stamp it onto my card front. And then I'm going to coat it in some Brutus Monroe, it's not sterling, gilded. Gilded embossing powder. I was confused there for a moment. It's a gold embossing powder. Now I also have some letters from that Stencil alphabet. I have the D and the A and the little heart, and I'm stamping that twice onto some Nina Solar White 110-pound cardstock. I stamped that with the Versamark ink, and then I added the same gilded embossing powder to that. And then I decided that I wanted one more of these open hexagons on my card front. But this little stamp here actually has two connected. So I only inked up one, and then I stamped it on the card front, and I accidentally inked up more than I needed. I'm going to go ahead and return the extra embossing powder back to my jar. And it doesn't matter what I use to funnel my embossing powder back to my jar. I always make a mess on my desk. I do my best, and there's a lot of embossing powder that probably goes to waste as a result of my very, I don't know, clumsy, uncoordinated. I'm not sure why I can't get it back in the jar, but I just can't. So I went ahead and took a dry brush and knocked off some of the extra embossing powder that got on areas where I didn't want it, and then I heat set all of my embossing powder. Since I'm not using any die cuts on this card, I cut down a strip of cardstock. It's a dark gray, it's sugar wafer from Basil. I cut that down into a really thin strip, and then I stamped the For You from the Beautiful Blooms on that in some VersaFine Onyx Black pigment ink. And now I'm taking some scissors and I'm fussy cutting around those letters there. And since these are just basic rectangle shapes, they're really easy to fussy cut. I've added some foam adhesive to the back of that little stamped strip there, and also on the back of my letters, and I'm going to go ahead and position these onto my card front. So I have that banner kind of hanging off now. I will trim it down before the card is finished, and I'm going to go ahead and nestle my letters that spell out Dad right underneath that For You sentiment strip. So it says For You, Dad. I'm getting a little jump on my Father's Day card projects for this year. So I know I'm ahead of the game, but that's a good thing, right? I figured you guys would want this in time to make your Father's Day cards as well. So once I have that all trimmed down, I went ahead and put foam adhesive on the back. I trimmed it down to 4 by 5 1/4, and then I mounted it onto a card base made of that Basil Card Shop sugar wafer cardstock. And I finished off the card project with just a little twine bow right at the top, just for a little extra something. Now, it took all of my power to not add some sort of sequins or glitter to this card. I had to get my shiny element in the embossing powder, but I think it worked out really well in the end. So you can see here's the masculine version using all of those different colors of blue ink and then incorporating that gray and gold as well. And you'll see in the other project, I just changed up the ink colors and I spelled out baby. And I have a baby card too. So this is definitely a card project that's super easy to mass produce, super easy to put together. Look, Ma, no die cutting whatsoever. Okay, I die cut that sentiment strip right there, but you could totally cut that out with your own scissors if you wanted to. So I may have cheated a little bit on this one. As always, I will have links to the featured supplies in the description at YouTube, but head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Over there, you'll find more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies I used in these projects. And here's a little peek at that card that I created using the beautiful Bloom stamp set. As always, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed these projects. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day. Thanks for sticking around to the end. If you've made it this far, you know you're my favorite. If you want to subscribe to my channel, go ahead and click that button on the left side of the screen. And here's a couple more video tutorials I thought you might enjoy.